Good morning once again, and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kallevig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. Very fortunate to have Glenn Ramey, insurance specialist at Haven, on for these last two segments. And, a takeaway from that last segment, Kim, Medicare is not simple. That was just the name of the class Glenn's going to teach. It is very complicated. And complexity in a lot of these retirement areas necessitates consultation with a financial or some sort of professional. Having a plan, it's what we talk about every single week. The problem is most people are not getting the attention they deserve or the information that they need to make educated decisions. So if you're listening, it's an opportunity to come in and visit with Glenn or any of us on any of these topics. He talked the last segment about some other viable options for long-term care that most people are not even familiar with. So 612-504-8400, havenfinancialgroup.com. Check out the classes or simply give us a ring at the front desk here and set up a time. There's no cost for any consultations. And you might be surprised about all the information that you might be gathering when you're here.
Absolutely. We're going to look at some unique retirement tips for Gen Xers. So I want to start with you, Glenn. You're a Gen Xer, and let's say you're in the heart of Gen X, okay? So let's say you're about 52 years old. What are some suggestions, some ideas when it comes to insurance issues that you'd like to pass along to our listeners, things that they need to be considering right there in the heart of what is still really some prime earning years?
Yeah, taking advantage of tax-free savings, right? That's the biggest one I could say right there. Utilizing vehicles while we're still healthy, we still have expendable income to put some of that income aside for later for healthcare expenses. And one of the biggest tools that you could be using there is the HSA, the health savings account, right? Right now, at age 55, you could be funding an HSA for a couple over $10,000 per year into that type of account. It can be interest bearing, it's tax-free going in, it's tax-free coming out. And then there's employer plans like flexible savings accounts, right? So maybe you're not using an HSA, but your employer is offering a flexible savings account plan. Hey, I know I have $500 in medication costs every year. Why are we paying taxes on that money when we have a vehicle that could make that money tax-free, right? And utilize those benefits that the employer offers there. Often on your HSAs as well, many employers now are matching contributions or giving their own contributions in that HSA. And if you're not doing that, that's free money your employer is giving away that you're missing out on.
Okay, so now I think at that age, would you also, should they be considering long-term care, exploring that idea and looking into that?
They should. And again, I go back to what I said in that last segment, right? Health. It's not just cost, it's health. Yes, doing it early means that the cost is going to be lower for you, right? In the beginning, it's going to be a much more feasible and appetizing cost that we can have in our budget, right? Later, it's going to eat up a much bigger chunk of our budget by waiting. But I go back to your bigger risk over cost is health. Your bigger risk is that you might not qualify for the vehicles that offer you the best leverage. And you're not going to be happy when you hear that that thing is now off the table for you when it would have been something you would have pursued for long-term care if you could.
Sure. Okay, Larry. So you're a 52 Gen Xer, and you and your spouse are starting to talk about what is it that we want to do in those golden years. What do you want to see them doing about that time?
Well, I want to see them doing a whole bunch of things because that's what we do for a living, and encourage them, number one, to max out to the best of your ability those retirement accounts, the power of compounding, catch-up contributions in those IRAs and those Roth IRAs, especially the deadline of April 15th coming. Work with somebody, a good partner that can keep you informed about things, because things are they're always changing. Just when you figure things out, then they make changes. The tax laws change, Medicare laws, the rules change, investments, some investments change. So having a partner that you can lean on is so important. Just because people retire or maybe hang up their job that they've been in for years, we come across folks that really take on a consultant type of a position. Part-time work isn't ruled out. I had folks in last week. He's like, I got a part-time job this summer, going to be mowing grass at the golf course. I got to do something. You know what? And many of us, we need a purpose. So don't rule out like certain things, volunteering and all these other things, because you're going to want to be doing something. And of course, it takes money usually, especially for those fun things. So have a plan. You and I talk about it. Work with folks that keep you informed and somebody that you can call, and especially when the markets are all over the place, to say everything's going to be just fine. Remember, we had this kind. Oh yes, now I remember. There's something to say about peace of mind, and at Haven Financial Group, in any of these retirement areas, and it can get very complicated, convoluted, and confusing. We want to give peace of mind, and it's probably one of the funnest things we do at Haven Financial Group.
A little earlier in the show, we talked about annuities. If you're one of those prime earners, you're in that prime earning time. Is it too early to start talking about annuities, or is this the time?
It's never too early to have a conversation on any of this. Now, for the younger ones that are listening, the annuity probably is not going to be a good discussion. That doesn't mean you can't get information to make educated decisions, because it's a good chance if you're younger, your parents probably have them and they don't understand them, and you might have to deal with it if you're the beneficiary. So again, having conversations proactively, not reactively, not finding out this after it's too late. Like I talked earlier in the show about tax planning strategies. Again, I always tell folks, there is no quota as to how many times you can come in and visit with us. You know what? That will give people the confidence to know they're paying attention, they're listening, there's transparency, and Haven Financial Group likes to have a good time with some really stuffy topics that you and I talk about every single week.
Larry, what do you say to the younger couple who is working very hard, and they look at you and say, Larry, we just can't save because gas prices are up, college tuition is looming, and the cost of everything that we do is out of control. So we've stopped saving right here in our 50s.
Well, I am sympathetic, because what you said is true, and we do hear these conversations, and it is difficult times for a lot of folks. I get it. But maybe you never put a budget together. Do you really know where you're actually spending your money? Did you know that you went to Starbucks 15 times last month? 15 times $8 a drink, or whatever they are now. And so maybe just some accountability to start somewhere, to get somewhere. It may be eye-opening. It won't be fun. But maybe you just aren't tracking where the money's being spent. And guess what? You might be able to do more than you think you can do. But I am sympathetic, because I understand life happens. It doesn't always cooperate with our calendar. And at Haven Financial Group, we're going to do the best we possibly can do to keep people informed.
Sure, absolutely. Glenn, what do you want everybody to walk away from, these Gen Xers? What do you want them to walk away from this conversation with?
Start thinking now, right? Start planning now. Start thinking, taking these things seriously now while you have an opportunity to do them.
Yeah. And Larry, you?
Ditto to Glenn Ramey. Start somewhere to get somewhere. In some cases, you can't afford not to have a conversation. Yeah. It'll pay dividends for the future. And isn't that what we want for the future? The golden years of retirement, or a reflection that says, wow, I remember hearing those guys talk about it back 25 years ago. I should have listened to them. I don't like anybody telling me that, but at the end of the day, maybe that's what we need to hear.
And I think all three of us can attest to the idea that time goes much more quickly than you might think.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Well, you have established that you are a Gen Xer, so we know that.
We both are. Yes.
612-504-8400. If you've heard something today that resonates with you, if you are in retirement, if you're thinking about retirement, maybe you're a Gen Xer, maybe you've got kids that you'd like to get them in to start thinking and talking about it, give the folks at Haven Financial Group a call. They would love to hear from you. 612-504-8400. And a quick reminder, Larry, to everyone to go to the website for some of those great classes that are coming up.
Yeah, havenfinancialgroup.com or 612-504-8400. We'd love to have you in the community setting. All of our classes are there at our education center, some really, really informative classes, and bring friends. Maybe that's the only way that they're going to hear about it. And there's no cost for any of our classes, and we're not going to try to sell you anything. It truly is educational.
Great. Glenn, thanks so much, like always.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Kim. Have a good week.
You bet.